Welcome to Mr. Expert Podcast, and today let's dive deep into data loss prevention. In an increasingly digital world,
Right.
protecting sensitive data is paramount. This deep dive will equip you to understand the core concepts of DLP and how it safeguards valuable information. Think of it as a shortcut to being well-informed about how to keep your data safe, whether for business, personal use, or just to be more savvy in today's world.
What's fascinating here is that DLP is like a security guard for your data, trained to spot and prevent
Yeah.
risky sharing or transfers of sensitive information.
So it's not just about keeping hackers out.
Right. It's also about preventing accidental leaks or misuse, both on your devices and in the cloud.
So whether I'm working from home, uploading to social media, or just sorting files online,
Exactly.
DLP is relevant.
And it's not just for big corporations anymore. Think about your medical records, financial details.
It sounds like DLP also helps organizations meet those complex regulations we hear about, like iPay for healthcare.
That's right. DLP helps organizations meet compliance standards, but it's also about safeguarding your own digital footprint. Every click, every upload leaves a trace. And it's up to each of us to be smart about what we share and how we protect it.
This is starting to feel pretty personal. So how do I even begin to wrap my head around protecting all that data? What's the first step?
You need to understand your data landscape. It's crucial to know what data you have and where it resides. Is it on your laptop, in the cloud, on a shared server?
So it's kind of like sorting my mail. Bills go in one pile, personal letters in another. Different types of data need different levels of security.
Precisely. We call this data classification. It's about categorizing data based on its sensitivity. Your social security number needs Fort Knox level protection, while a grocery list, maybe not so much.
But how does a DLP solution actually work? Is it some kind of magical force field around my data?
Well, not a force field,
Yeah.
but it is pretty sophisticated. It's a blend of people, processes, and technology working together.
Let's focus on the technology piece for a second. We're talking software, right?
Yes, DLP solutions use things like antivirus software, but also cutting-edge AI and machine learning to detect suspicious activity. Think of it as a super smart security system constantly scanning for threats.
So it's like having a digital detective on the case 24/7. That's pretty impressive.
Mm.
But you mentioned people and processes are involved too, right? What role do they play?
Well, what good is a security system if nobody's monitoring it or responding to alerts? You need trained personnel who understand the system and can take action if a threat is detected. And then the processes part is like a playbook for how data is handled, who has access, what happens if there is a breach. That's where a DLP policy comes in.
A DLP policy. So it's not just about reacting to threats, it's about setting up a strong defense in the first place.
Absolutely. DLP is a proactive approach to data security. It's about minimizing risks before they become problems. For example, a good policy would dictate how data is labeled and shared, and what happens if someone tries to send sensitive information outside the company network.
Okay, I'm starting to see the big picture here. But what about the actual threats out there? Can we dive into that a bit?
Let's focus on two key threats that everyone should understand: cyber attacks and phishing.
Ooh, cyber attacks. Sounds scary. Tell me more about those.
A cyber attack is any attempt to gain unauthorized access to a computer system. Think about a hacker trying to steal financial data or disrupt critical infrastructure.
And these attacks, they're not just targeting governments and big companies, right? Individuals are at risk too.
Absolutely. Think about all the personal information we store on our devices and in the cloud. Everyone is a potential target.
Okay, that's a little unsettling. What about phishing? What is that exactly?
You know those scam emails trying to trick you into giving up your password or credit card details? That's phishing.
Oh yeah, I get those all the time. They're getting more and more sophisticated too.
Exactly. Phishing attacks are becoming increasingly sophisticated and often look like legitimate emails from banks or even government agencies. So you have to be extra careful.
So we've got these external threats like cyber attacks and phishing. But what about threats that might come from within an organization itself?
You're talking about insider risks, and they're a major concern. It's not always intentional, but it can involve employees accidentally leaking data or even malicious insiders intentionally stealing sensitive information. Think of a disgruntled employee or someone who accidentally sends a file to the wrong person.
Wow, so it's not just about outside hackers. It's about managing security on all fronts. So how does DLP help protect against these insider threats?
DLP solutions can monitor employee activity, flag suspicious behavior, and even prevent certain actions like downloading large amounts of sensitive data or sending it outside the company network. It's like having an extra set of eyes watching over sensitive information.
So it's not about assuming everyone is going to do something bad. It's about having systems in place to prevent mistakes and catch malicious activity before it becomes a problem.
That's right. DLP is about minimizing risk and protecting data, regardless of the source of the threat.
This has been really helpful in starting to understand the different types of data threats out there. So how can we start using this knowledge to protect our own data? What are the key things to keep in mind?
What's fascinating here is that data loss prevention isn't just about technology. It's about being aware and taking simple steps to protect yourself.
Okay, I like where this is going. So what are some of those simple steps? What can I do today to improve my own data security?
Well, one of the most important things you can do is be mindful of what you share online. Think before you post, and be cautious about giving away personal information on social media or other websites.
So it's not just about passwords and financial details. It's about being more conscious of our overall digital footprint.
Exactly. Every piece of information you share contributes to that footprint, and once it's out there, it can be difficult to control.
That makes sense. What other simple steps can we take to protect ourselves?
Strong passwords are crucial. Use a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols, and make sure your passwords are at least 12 characters long.
So password 123 is definitely out.
Definitely. And don't use the same password for multiple accounts. If one account is compromised, you don't want all of your accounts to be at risk.
Okay, strong passwords, check. What else?
Be wary of suspicious emails and links. Don't click on anything that looks even remotely questionable. And if you're unsure about an email, contact the sender directly to verify its legitimacy.
That reminds me of those phishing emails we talked about earlier. They can be really sneaky.
They can, and they're getting more sophisticated all the time, so it's important to be vigilant and use your best judgment.
Okay, I'll definitely be more careful about clicking on links. What other advice do you have?
Keep your software up to date. Software updates often include security patches that fix vulnerabilities, so it's important to install them as soon as possible.
So it's not just about getting the latest features, it's about making sure my devices are as secure as possible.
Right. Think of software updates as armor for your devices, protecting them from digital attacks.
Okay, software updates, check. Anything else?
Use a reputable antivirus program and make sure it's always turned on. A good antivirus program will scan your devices for malware and help protect you from online threats.
So it's like having a digital bodyguard always on the lookout for trouble.
Exactly. A strong antivirus program is an essential part of any data security strategy.
Okay, these are all great tips for individuals.
Yeah.
But what about businesses? What are some of the key things businesses should be doing to protect their data?
Well, for businesses, implementing a robust DLP solution is essential. This will help them to identify and classify sensitive data, monitor for suspicious activity, and enforce security policies.
We talked earlier about how a DLP solution is like a security guard for your data. But can you give me a real-world example of how a DLP solution might work in a business setting?
Sure. Imagine you're working on a confidential financial document and you accidentally try to upload it to a public cloud storage service. A DLP solution could detect this action and prevent the upload, saving you from a potential data leak.
That's a great example. It really brings it to life. What else should businesses be thinking about when it comes to data security?
Employee training is crucial. Make sure your employees understand the importance of data security and the role they play in protecting sensitive information. Provide them with the knowledge and tools they need to make smart decisions and avoid costly mistakes.
So it's not just about implementing technology, it's about creating a culture of security awareness within an organization.
Exactly. Data security is everyone's responsibility, not just the IT departments.
Okay, so we've talked about DLP solutions and employee training. What other steps can businesses take to enhance their data security posture?
Data encryption is critical. Encrypting sensitive data makes it unreadable to anyone who doesn't have the decryption key. This is especially important for data that is stored in the cloud or transmitted over the internet.
So it's like putting your most valuable data in a safe, protected by a strong combination lock.
That's a great analogy. Encryption is a powerful tool for protecting data from unauthorized access.
Encryption check. What else should businesses be doing to safeguard their data?
Regularly back up your data. This will help ensure that you can recover your data if it's lost or damaged due to a hardware failure, a natural disaster, or even a cyber attack.
So it's like having an insurance policy for your data.
Precisely. Data backups are essential for business continuity.
Backups, got it. Anything else we should keep in mind?
Be proactive about incident response. Have a plan in place for what to do if a data breach occurs. This will help you to contain the damage, mitigate the risks, and recover quickly.
So it's not just about preventing breaches, it's about knowing how to respond effectively if one does occur.
Right. Incident response is a critical part of any comprehensive data security strategy.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've covered a lot of ground today, from understanding the threat landscape to implementing practical solutions. What's the one key message you want listeners to take away from this deep dive into data loss prevention?
Data loss prevention is everyone's responsibility. Whether you're an individual or a business, it's crucial to be aware of the risks, take proactive steps to protect yourself, and stay informed about the latest threats and solutions.
That's a powerful message. And it's a great reminder that data security is an ongoing process, not a one-time event. We need to be constantly learning, adapting, and improving our defenses.
I couldn't agree more. The threat landscape is constantly evolving, so we need to stay vigilant and adaptable.
You've given us so much to think about before we wrap up. What are some resources or tools that listeners can use to learn more about data loss prevention and stay up to date on the latest trends?
There are many great resources available. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has a cybersecurity framework that provides guidance for organizations of all sizes.
So even if I'm not running a huge corporation, there's helpful information out there.
Absolutely. The NIST framework is a valuable resource for anyone looking to improve their cybersecurity posture. There are also industry-specific organizations, like the Health Information Trust Alliance, HI2REST for healthcare, and the Payment Card Industry Security Standards Council, PCRSSC, for businesses that handle credit card transactions.
It sounds like those would be helpful for organizations navigating those complex compliance requirements we discussed earlier.
They are. And don't forget about security vendors. Many security companies offer white papers, webinars, and other educational resources on their websites.
So we can learn a lot directly from the companies that are developing the solutions.
Exactly. They have a lot of expertise to share. And of course, there are always podcasts like this one that can help keep you informed.
Okay, those are all great resources. Now, let's switch gears for a moment and talk about the future of data loss prevention. What trends are you most excited about?
One trend I'm particularly interested in is the rise of zero-trust security.
That sounds intriguing, but I'm not familiar with that term. Can you explain what zero-trust security is all about?
It's a security model that assumes that no user or device can be trusted by default, even those within an organization's network. Instead, every user and device must be verified before being granted access to any resources.
So it's kind of like having a security checkpoint at every door in a building, instead of just at the main entrance.
That's a great way to think about it. Zero-trust security is all about minimizing the attack surface by limiting access to sensitive information.
That makes a lot of sense. What other trends are shaping the future of DLP?
Another trend I'm watching closely is the increasing use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in DLP solutions.
We touched on this earlier, but can you give us a few more details about how AI and machine learning are changing the game?
They are helping to automate many of the tasks that were previously done manually, such as data classification and threat detection. This frees up security professionals to focus on more strategic initiatives.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Precisely. AI and machine learning are allowing DLP solutions to be more proactive and predictive, identifying potential threats before they can cause harm. They can analyze vast amounts of data to identify patterns that humans might miss.
That sounds incredibly powerful. Any other parting thoughts on the future of data loss prevention?
I believe we are on the cusp of a major shift in how we approach data security. The traditional perimeter-based security model is no longer sufficient in today's world of cloud computing, mobile devices, and remote work. We need to adopt a more holistic approach that considers people, processes, and technology.
So it's about building a culture of security awareness and adopting a zero-trust mindset.
Exactly. And it's about staying informed, embracing new technologies, and continually adapting to the ever-evolving threat landscape. It's an exciting time to be in the data security field, with lots of challenges and opportunities ahead.
This deep dive has been eye-opening. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us and for helping our listeners understand the complexities of data loss prevention.
It's been my pleasure. And remember, data security is everyone's responsibility. Let's work together to create a safer online world.
Well said. That is for today. Meet you in another topic of Mr. Expert shortly.